For 22 years, Arsenal waited. 22 years of almost, 22 years of being laughed at, and 22 years of finishing second and watching Manchester City completely dominate English football. But then everything changed, and it wasn't because Arsenal suddenly became the richest club in the world, because they bought Mbappe, or because Manchester City suddenly disappeared. Arsenal became champions because they finally built the one thing that had been missing for 2 whole decades, a team that believed they belonged at the top. This is the story of how Arsenal finally won the Premier League again.
For 22 years, the old Arsenal artillery has lain silent and dormant, gathering dust, gathering doubt, but this season has lit the fuse. After 22 years of gloom, it's about to go boom! The Arsenal cannon fires again!
The last time Arsenal won the Premier League, Facebook was still a college project and the iPhone didn't exist. Back in 2004, Arsenal were untouchable. They were the Invincibles and could go an entire season unbeaten. But after that, the decline began slowly. First came the move from Highbury to the Emirates, then years of financial restrictions, then came the banter era. Top 4 became the trophy. Fans celebrated finishing above Tottenham because actual title races felt impossible, and even when Arsenal improved under Mikel Arteta, there was always something missing. In 2003, they collapsed. In 2004, Manchester City hunted them down again. The talent was there, the football was beautiful, but the mentality, that was still being built. Because winning a Premier League title is a little different. You don't just need talent, you need strategy. You need players who can handle pressure, players who don't panic after one bad result, and players who believe they deserve greatness. And slowly, Arsenal was becoming exactly that. When Mikel Arteta first joined Arsenal, many people doubted him. They thought he was young, emotional, and inexperienced. Some fans thought Arsenal needed a proven winner, but Arteta wasn't trying to build a short-term team. He was building a culture, and culture is invisible until suddenly it isn't. He removed players who didn't fit the mentality, some even big names. But Arteta wanted complete control of the club and the dressing room, so every player had to buy into the vision, and there was no room for passengers or people that just had huge egos. Slowly, Arsenal transformed. They became younger, faster, hungrier. Bukayo Saka became the face of the club. Martin Odegaard became the leader, and William Saliba became the defensive foundation Arsenal had lacked for years. But the real transformation happened mentally. This Arsenal side stopped fearing the big moments. They went to Anfield without panic, went to the Etihad believing they could win, and went behind in games and fought back instead of collapsing. And this is where people started realising this wasn't the old Arsenal they'd known before. Every title-winning team needs a symbol, and for Arsenal, that player has been Bukayo Saka. And it's not because he scored goals or because he created chances, it's because he represents everything Arsenal stands for. An academy player, calm under pressure, loved by the fans. There were moments during the title race where Saka simply refused to let Arsenal lose. Late winners, big assists, ice-cold penalties, and suddenly he wasn't just a promising youngster anymore, he became world-class. Then there was Martin Odegaard, the player Real Madrid once called a wonder kid, the one that football almost forgot. At Arsenal, he had his fresh start. Odegaard wasn't just creative, he became the emotional engine of the team. He pressed like a madman, demanded intensity, set the tone every single match, and when Arsenal needed composure, he delivered. But perhaps the most important signing of all was Declan Rice. Rice gave Arsenal power, leadership, control. There were games Arsenal would have lost in previous years that Rice dragged them through. Big tactics, last-minute interceptions, massive goals. Suddenly Arsenal wasn't just entertaining, they became ruthless. Every title-winning team has a turning point, and for Arsenal that moment was when they faced Manchester City. For years, City psychologically dominated Arsenal. Even before kick-off, it felt inevitable. But this time was different. Arsenal didn't sit deep, didn't panic or look scared. They attacked, pressed high, won duels and controlled possession.
Goal for Arsenal! Into the corner post and on!
And then the goal came. The Emirates exploded, not just because Arsenal won, but because fans realised something terrifying for the rest of the league. Arsenal finally believed they were better, and belief changes everything. After years of relentless dominance, cracks began to show at Manchester City. The squad looked tired, the intensity dropped slightly, and key injuries hurt them.
Looking for Erdegaard, only headed half clear, Havertz missed kicks, what a chance for Arsenal!
For the first time in years, teams stopped fearing City. That tiny psychological shift changed the entire league. Because dominance in football is fragile. The moment opponents believe you can be beaten, everything changes. And Arsenal took full advantage. They stayed consistent, avoided emotional collapses, and won ugly when necessary. As the season came to a close, the pressure became unbearable.
Manchester United, from the consecutive corner, have conceded to Arsenal.
And Arsenal knew one mistake could ruin everything. But this time they didn't crumble. They survived ugly away games, defended leads like champions, and suddenly the impossible became real.
The day they had the coronation at the Palace. This is a story that will be told in North London.
Arsenal were one win away, 22 years of pain, and one match from the end. The atmosphere around the Emirates was unlike anything modern Arsenal fans had experienced. Generations had waited for this. Some fans had never seen Arsenal win the league in their lifetime.
Arsenal, 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 Arsenal.
And when the final whistle blew, pure chaos. Fans crying, players collapsing, Arteta screaming with emotion. Bukayo Saka was standing in disbelief. Then came the moment. The Premier League trophy lifted into the North London sky. Finally, after 22 years, Arsenal were champions again. The title meant more than just football, because Arsenal didn't buy success overnight. They suffered for it. They rebuilt patiently, trusted young players, backed a manager through difficult moments. And in an era where football feels increasingly artificial, Arsenal reminded people what long-term belief can achieve. This wasn't a miracle, this was years of pain, finally paying off. And maybe that's why this whole saga felt so emotional. For years, Arsenal fans waited. They were mocked and told they'd never return and that football had moved on. But football moves in cycles, and now Arsenal are back. So the question is no longer, can Arsenal win the Premier League? It's more about how many more they can win. For more summaries like this, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and let me know, do you think Arsenal still has the capacity to dominate football again? I'll see you soon.